Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Riri Williams' Ironheart, issue number 5. This was a pretty damn good issue. I think for the most part they all are. Maybe it's just me and my bias because I love the character so much. Anyway, no, I would actually hate it if the storyline wasn't good, so there's that. Anyway, guys, whole lot of character development, whole lot of world development, not a whole lot of characters showing up in freaking Chicago. When they do, they die off panel. Reference to, what was that, issue number 8 of Occupy Avengers? Just saying, just saying. Okay, so we got Evel Ewing on writing duties, Luciano Vecchio on art, Jaffo on layouts, Matt Mila on colors, VC's Clayton Cowles doing letters and production. Amy Reeder does the freaking variant cover. You know, I know that a lot of times we judge if a comic book is good or not by how many variant covers they got. No, completely disagree. I don't want a whole bunch of different variant covers for this. In fact, the first time that I got genuinely pissed off about a variant cover was for issue 1 of this very comic book, because they had that one where it's like, oh, if you order 1 billion copies at your comic book store, we'll send you 1 of these special copies. And it happened to be that freaking gorgeous cover. You know what? I don't even remember who did that cover. It looked like an art germ, but I don't think it was. Whatever it was freaking beautiful. And like, I just wanted that cover so bad. I got to see the cover, got to hold it in my hands, but I couldn't afford 200 bucks Canadian. I just couldn't do it. And I'm like, no, that's just messed up. And that's the first time I genuinely got pissed off at a cover. So I'm just saying that. In the meantime, as far as this book is concerned, Riri decides to get a new lab. In fact, she's got a new lab. Where's the lab? By the book. It's that simple. There's also the matter of her going after Delilah. It's not Delilah. Is it Delia? What the heck was her name in here? Deja. Deja ran away, but where does she run away to? Well, it turns out there's this corrupt politician guy. Yeah, and he's basically getting all these kids to start stealing for him. Now, if you just look at this on the surface, it seems like kind of silly, right? But let's take it a step further. When this political leader is forcing all these kids to steal and do, as he puts it, victimless crimes, what happens? The police force decide to start getting on it. And the police force start realizing that these kinds of kids, these are the real problem, because statistics are what they are, right? If you got a statistic, it must be factual and it must be completely in context, right? You know, except when it's not. So this was bittersweet. I mean, it got ended, and I'm so glad, like, the whole arc got ended. I'm glad that it finished because we can move on to bigger and better things, because Riri is developing as a character in this, as individual, not necessarily, but as a character, her character and her environment. She's surrounding herself with herself at this point, not like Jimmy Madrox's Multiple Man. No, entirely different. She's doing this in a way that it's her building her life all around herself. You're watching this, you're seeing this happen. They're not telling you it's happening, but I mean, it's pretty evident. And I like this. She's taking control of her life by taking control and manipulating her environment. It's what we do as humans, you know. But specifically when you live in a big city like I do, it's hard to really notice that. It's hard to even do it in the first place. But Riri's doing that. She is smart. She's smarter than, you know, pretty much she's smarter than you fill in the blank, right? The situation with Midnight's Fire. Stupid name, but whatever. He's still a tough guy. Batroc the Leaper's got a stupid name. I wouldn't want to get into a freaking boxing match or a savate match with him either. So, you know, there's that. But, yeah, freaking Midnight's Fire. We haven't seen the last of him. He gets defeated-ish, and I like the way he got defeated because it shows that he is still a genuine threat to her. She's starting to figure out ways to try and put the advantage in her own corner, but I don't need Riri Williams, this 15-year-old girl, to be, you know, like, you know, the ultimate ass kicker. No, she should be doing smart things. She should be trying to figure out, well, not just her life, but figuring out how to make her armor better, how to make new devices. She sold a patent to a GPS audio listening device. excuse me, that fits on your shoe, which I thought was great because as like when I was an electrical engineer, my favorite time was when I was working in a place called Sideship, doing it. They still exist, I believe. Operating on GPS, and we were the first people to miniaturize GPS to about the size of a thumbnail, and that is freaking awesome. That was just, it was one of the best, intellectual times of my life. So just, she's working on GPS. She sold the patent for GPS. Yes. It just makes that bond a little bit closer with her for me. Something happened in the back of this book that is technically a part of this book. Oh, by the way, cover for next issue, Miles Morales is going to be joining. Hells to the yes. Real quick, something happened in the back of this book. There is this person called Nalia, and she is not a character in the book, no. She's in the letters section, the heartbeats. Okay, whatever. It sounds like freaking one of those teen heartthrob magazines. Whatever, I'll let that go. She says, really quick, Dear Marvel, I love this issue. It gave me all the Ironheart feels, and I can't wait to read more. I've always been a fan of Riri, and I have a few questions. First, how old is Riri? And if Natalie is going to be her AI, is she going to be the same age as Riri, or is the AI just based on how Riri thinks Natalie would look if she were her age? Lastly, thank you for making this comic book for girls like me who want to see superheroes that look like them. Again, this is sincerely from Nalia. I hope I pronounced that right. It actually, Arabic name, Naila. 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 But, yeah, I guess Naila would be a more Americanized a way of saying it, which in Arabic means she gets what she wants. But it has the indicator on it. She gets what she wants through hard work. So totally awesome name. I totally dig on that name. Yes, I speak Arabic. What do you call it? This was a really good question. Why am I reading that one out loud? I don't actually know now. I've already seen 2 letters in different comic books by people who I know, but this was a little bit different. This was important to me. I think a lot of you guys know that I have. I'm in a mixed marriage. My wife is from West Africa. And so, I've got 2 kids with her, 2 boys. One just turned 4. Happy birthday! Thank you. And the other one's almost 6. He'll be turning 6 this June. And, it's funny. I know a lot of people don't want to agree with the idea of white privilege. It took me about 2 years to understand what white privilege really was, mostly because people who told me that I, suffer from white privilege couldn't explain to me what white privilege was. Whatever, man. Don't accuse somebody of something if you don't actually know what it is, because if you can't explain it, all of a sudden you look like a jackass, and the whole thing is very easy to just ignore. I know that from experience. Understanding what white privilege is, probably besides actually finding somebody who was patient enough and intelligent enough to sit down and explain it to me, totally cool person, by the way. What do you call it? I think that my son, my 6-year-old, he's almost 6, when he was 4, was able to explain it to me the best. And it was in this way, and it relates to this letter. We were buying a train set. It's not electronic or anything like that. It's one of the little wooden ones, you know what I'm saying? And I was in Toys R Us, and this box with 81 pieces or something like that, and I was going to put it, I did. I bought a train table for him, and we put this whole thing together. Why did he pick this one specific set? Because he was staring at the set, and I was like, oh, I think he's he's pretty mechanically inclined. Taken after dad. Good man. Good man. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people want a lot of fathers want their kids to be football players. Hell no. I want my son to be an engineer. Man, I don't care if he gets picked on in school. We can handle that. But I want to be something along the lines of an engineer. I want to use his brains, and he does. He does. He's also pretty good at boxing and wrestling. Just saying. Anyway, so he's sitting there staring at this thing, I swear to God, for 2 full minutes. My wife is there with me. And all of a sudden, he finally blows up in excitement. He's just like, Mommy, Daddy, that kid looks like me. The most recent time I was in Saudi Arabia 3 years ago, I was in Dammam, and there was a South African guy, white guy from South Africa. There's a bunch of South Africans, but this one particular guy, he was a white guy from South Africa. And I remember him saying, who's that guy who does that song, Satellite? Satellite. Yeah, that one. Anyway, that guy, that he's actually South African. I'm like, really? Huh, I didn't know that. It's like, yeah, you guys think that he's yours, you Americans, you think that he's yours. No, he's actually one of ours. I mean, he's an American now. He took citizenship and whatnot, but like he's technically, like he's technically one of ours originally. I was like, oh, that's cool. I never think about stuff like that. When I think about like Michael J. Fox and Bryan Adams, you can tell I'm old, right? All these other, like Justin Bieber, I guess. Like we don't think about him being Canadian, about these guys being Canadian or South African or anything like that. We just think. So I actually understood the concept of American privilege before I understood the concept of white privilege. Weird, right? Anyway, so that all of a sudden, like it stuck with me. It big time stuck with me in a major way. My son found somebody who looked like him. I found people who looked like me plenty of times, or I just didn't care because they all looked at least a little bit like me on the boxes of whatever the hell toy it was I was going to buy, or what commercial I was looking at, my Star Wars figures or Transformers or whatever figures I wanted to buy when I was a kid. They all looked in general like me. And that is one of the, I guess, hidden aspects of white privilege, is that everybody in some way, shape, or form looks like you. So when my son found someone who looked like him, it was a huge deal for him. And I never realized it because that means that none of the other kids who were displayed, whatever, looked like him. And I was just so completely taken aback by that. It was a cool moment. And I'm glad that Nyla found this book also. And it's just, I don't know, it's one of those things. Okay, you know what? Before I start getting all choked up, I'm just saying, this was a good book. And yeah, Riri is one of my favorite characters, just because she's my screensaver. And seeing things like that in the letters column makes me happy with my choice. I don't care about all the comic skaters who are like, oh, Riri Williams is... No. I can tell you what you are. But Riri Williams is just a comic book character, and she's representation. That's what she is. What exactly are you? You're that potential stopgap. I think I know who has more worth. The imaginary character has more worth. Anyway, guys, that's my piece. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.